Okay, I have to tell you about this pull-up bar. It's one of those spring-loaded ones jammed into the doorway between my kitchen and the hallway. I put it up last spring. I walk under it maybe 20 times a day. Coffee, fridge, more coffee. And if I'm honest, this month I have used it roughly 0 times. Zero. It's just been zero. And the part that gets me isn't that I skip it, it's how small the ask is. No gym, no commute, no getting changed, no 40-minute warm-up video. To use the thing I have to reach up and pull, that's the entire price. And every day, without me really deciding anything, some quiet part of me glances at that price and goes, hey, not now, later. And you know how later goes. We've got a word for this, lazy. And we say it like it's a moral thing, like it's a little crack in your character, proof you're soft. You don't want it badly enough, you're not trying. When I skip the bar, I don't just skip the bar. I log a small demerit against myself. I bet you do the same over something in your own house. I want to try to talk you out of that, not in a be kinder to yourself way. I mean, it's actually mechanically wrong. The thing we're calling laziness isn't a bug in you. It's the machine doing precisely what it was built to do, running a program way older than you are. You're not weak, you're being managed. And once you can see the thing that's managing you, this stops looking like a personal failing and starts looking like a system you can work with. So one fact first, because the whole thing hangs off it. Your brain is about 2% of your body weight, and it burns something like a fifth of your energy. A fifth. Per gram, it's the most expensive thing you own, and it doesn't clock off. It costs you whether you're doing hard sums or staring at the ceiling. Now, that brain wasn't built for the room you're sitting in. For nearly all the time that made us, calories were hard to get and easy to lose. You didn't eat because you were bored. You ate what you could chase down or dig up, and pretty often there was no second helping. In a world like that, spending energy you didn't strictly need to spend wasn't a wash, it was a bad move. Money out of an account you weren't sure you could refill. So we ended up with a governor. Nothing dramatic, just a steady built-in lean toward whatever's cheapest. Move when it's worth moving. Sit when sitting safe. Don't spend for no reason. And this isn't some human hang-up. You find it anywhere effort can be put on a scale. Linguists call it the principle of least effort. Some old blunt psychology papers just called it the law of less work. Give an animal, a rat, a pigeon, you, two roads to the same reward, and it leans every time toward the cheaper one. Here's the bit I actually want to sit on, because this is where lazy quietly turns into well-engineered. That lean isn't you failing to feel motivated. It's not an empty tank. It's a live calculation running the whole time. Anytime you think about doing anything, your brain puts a price on it. Reward on one side, the effort to get it on the other. And effort here isn't poetry. It's a real number that gets subtracted. There's a name for it, effort discounting. The exact same reward is worth less to you the more effort it takes to reach, and you can watch it happen on a scan. A patch behind your forehead, the anterior cingulate cortex, sits there adding up the cost of the effort and quietly taking it off the top before you have decided a thing. So I don't feel like it isn't a gap where the motivation should be. It's a result. Some cost benefits some you never agreed to and can't watch ran in the background and came back with too pricey, pass. That's not a flaw in your character. That's an accountant doing the job it got hired for 2 million years ago and doing it well. And it gets worse because you're probably thinking, fine, I'll just override it. Pick the hard thing. Sure, you can. It just costs you more to do it. And that's not a vibe. It's measurable. There's a study I keep coming back to. A researcher in Switzerland, Boris Cheval, ran this really clean little experiment. He put pictures in front of people, some of exercise, some of lounging around, and had them move a little figure on a screen towards some and away from others, while he watched their brains. And moving away from the lazy pictures cost more. It pulled in more of the brain's control machinery, the effortful part, the bit you use to stop yourself doing something. Going toward the couch was smooth and cheap. Going against it showed up as actual work on the readout. Sit with that because it's a little wild. The lazy way is downhill. The good way is uphill. And your brain can feel the tilt. So when the couch wins at 9 at night, that isn't you not trying. You burn the expensive stuff, the self-control all day on the job in the traffic and the 400 emails. And by the time you got home, there wasn't enough left to pay the toll on the uphill road. The couch didn't out-argue you. It waited you out fine. So if this governor's so clever, why does it feel like it's slowly wrecking my life? Why do I own a pull-up bar I never touch, hung over a body that would genuinely love for me to touch it? Because the governor is answering a question nobody's asking anymore. It got tuned for a world that was short on food and long on forced movement, where if you wanted to eat, you moved for hours, feelings not consulted. Back there, conserve was just correct. Moving was a given, eating wasn't. Now both of those have flipped. Food is endless and basically free and shows up at the door. Moving is optional. You can go a whole day and burn almost nothing without trying. And the governor, which has no idea any of this happened, keeps whispering the same old line: rest, save it, don't spend what you don't have to. It's not glitching, it's giving a flawless answer to a question that stopped existing. Nothing in you broke. The world moved and left the instinct standing there. All right, so that's the case that laziness isn't a defect. But I told you there was a turn, and here it is. And honestly, it's the part one like most, because this exact instinct, the one skipping the bar, is probably the most productive force we've ever had. Think about what "there's got to be an easier way" actually is. That's the effort saver out loud. Every tool, every shortcut, every machine we've built is basically some ancestor who could not face doing a thing the hard way one more time. We didn't invent the wheel out of a love of hauling. We invented it because hauling was miserable. The lever, the pulley, the aqueduct, the wheelbarrow, the spreadsheet, the remote in your hand, none of that is the opposite of laziness. It's laziness that finished the job. The whole itch to get more for less is the engine under every convenient thing you own. You've probably heard the line people pin on Bill Gates. I've got no idea if he really said it, that he'd give a hard job to a lazy person because they'll find an easy way to do it. That's not a gag. That's more or less our entire strategy as a species said out loud. The people we call efficient didn't beat the instinct to conserve. They just learned to take orders from it more cleverly than the rest of us, which finally is the useful part and why the usual advice is close to worthless. The usual advice is try harder, more discipline, want it more. And you can now hear what that's really asking. It's asking you to win an uphill fight against your own optimizer, paying out the expensive fuel every single day forever. You'll lose, not because you're weak, because it's built so you lose. Willpower's real, but it's a small tank and it isn't free, and betting your life on never hitting empty isn't a plan, it's a countdown. So don't fight the slope, tilt the floor, go back to that little sum your brain's been running the whole time. Value equals reward minus effort. Your whole life you've been shoving on the reward side. Hype yourself up, picture the result, want it hard enough to swallow the cost. But there's a second term sitting right there, and it's the one you can actually reach. Drop the effort, not your character, the effort. Make the thing you want to do the laziest option in the room, and the same governor that's been quietly sabotaging you turns around and starts doing your work for you, because now the cheap road and the right road are the same road. That's the whole move, and it's almost embarrassing how small it is. It's putting your gym clothes on the chair the night before, so starting costs basically nothing. It's leaving the phone in the other room, so not scrolling is easier than scrolling. It's the guitar on a wall hook instead of zipped in its case, the fruit washed in a bowl at eye level instead of going soft in a drawer. One habit made so frictionless that doing it is genuinely less hassle than not. The people you envy didn't grow a bigger willpower tank. They rearranged the furniture so their laziness happens to point at the thing they wanted. I'm not going to pretend I've solved myself here. The bar's still in the doorway, still mostly decorative, but I did one dumb little thing. I hung a resistance band over it right across the gap, so to get into the kitchen, I have to shove it out of the way. And it turns out shoving it aside is just slightly more annoying than grabbing it and doing a couple of pulls. So now, some days I do the pulls. Not because I found discipline lying around somewhere, because I made the lazy thing and the right thing the same thing and let the lazy part of me win on purpose. You're not lazy. You're running a 2 million-year-old program built to keep you alive by keeping you cheap, and it's still running perfectly in a world it was never written for. You can't delete it, and you wouldn't want to. It's the same program that built the room you're standing in. So quit arguing with the accountant. Just change the numbers on the page. Reward minus effort. You've spent your whole life yanking on the wrong one. 4 minutes, move one thing. Make the good choice the easy one once today, and let the oldest part of you carry the rest.